All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to another MLS Monday here on this beautiful, foggy, overcast Fort Myers morning. With that, we're going to jump into our topic today. We have an exciting topic with OneHome. I'll just give you some kind of background real quick on this. Um, we brought on OneHome probably 2 years ago now. It's been
Mid 2024.
mid 2024. So, and the purpose of that was the actual portal that we had before was antiquated, outdated, and looked like from the 80s. And I hated it as a practitioner. When I took this role and did broker office visits, I had an enormous amount of people speak against that. And we wanted to give you something that would compete with online portals that customers typically go to. Obviously, we don't have the brand identification behind that, but this is understand that OneHome has to be, you have to invite that customer there. They can't find it on their own. So they're being brought into this ecosystem based on you as the realtor, the trusted professional. So that was one thing that we think is very important. It's not something people can just go out and look at and jump on themselves. It's not the Z word or the R world or the H home, whatever. It's not any of those things. It's something you got to invite them to. So it's special. Number two, it's based on a true 100% feed from our MLS. So it gets updated faster than some of these other portals do. So there's a selling point with that. And it's a lot fresher and nicer than what you currently had before OneHome with the old portal. So there was a lot of wins with that. And so we're going to talk today on how to use it from both from a buyer perspective and also what to look at if I got listings. How do I know what people are looking at? So we're going to take a deep dive into this. But if you're not using OneHome, if there's something else you're using, some brokerages use an app, whatever, that's fine. But this is kind of your app and portal for your customers and to keep them sticky to you. Ultimately, you don't want them jumping around, right? So,
Mhm.
all right, with that, I'm going to turn over to the master, my boss, Joanna.
As we go through this today, I just want to point out as well, using your buttons down below, the chat is disabled because it's a webinar, but you can use the Q&A button down below. No question is a dumb question. As we go through this, type it in the Q&A. I'll keep an eye on it and we'll get to all of your questions. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. And what you'll notice is for those of you that are new, maybe you haven't used OneHome before, if you come down here to our core tools, you'll notice that there is a specialty button right here for OneHome. Typically, everything that you're going to learn today and most of your use of OneHome is actually right through the MLS button, and it's built inside of that matrix. The OneHome button down here is a quick button for you to see all of your contacts lined up, click their name, and see their experience. And the reason that quick button is there for you on the dashboard is, maybe they call in and they're like, well, hey, you sent me this list this morning and I'm looking and, I'm clicking this and I see this and you want to click along with them. This is that quick link for you. But to avoid any kind of confusion, I want to let you guys know most of what we do today will be right here inside of your MLS tile. So clicking into here, what we're going to do is we're going to go through a true scenario. You get a new customer, a new client, and you want to set them up on an auto email with search capabilities that go into the OneHome ecosystem. So we're going to set somebody up on a OneHome search. I will then bring you into the contact section. We'll go through and see everything that you can see for your contacts, any kind of edits or anything like that that you need to make. And then we're going to hop over to the consumer side. I'll show you exactly what it is that your clients are seeing. And then, like Jason said, if we've got time here at the end, we will also talk to, if you have the listings, what kind of readings and algorithm points you can get from the OneHome portal. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to go into search. If you were with us last week, we did an entire class on how to use this new search or how to search at all. So I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on the search piece. If you're struggling a little bit with the search, that video is up on our YouTube channel. We go through every part of this panel, the map search, the fields on the side, everything. So, if that's your sticking point, hop out to YouTube. So we're going to plug in. I'm going to do just a really basic search to keep it easy so that we can keep moving along here. But Jason, when you're working, in the past, when you've worked with clients, how is it that you choose, they call in and they usually always say like, yeah, I'll pick on Cape Coral. I'm looking at Cape Coral. I want waterfront. 3 bedroom, 2 bath, like, but then they start going down a rabbit hole and, well, I don't want a house if it has purple walls. And well, maybe we want a fence, but I don't know if we want the fence. The fence is kind of important, but it doesn't totally make or break the deal. What is it, the conversation you're having with buyers, and how are you setting up your search?
Yeah, so I think less is more. I mean, ultimately, this is a great thing to send to customers. And again, you don't want to give them something that they absolutely don't want. And I think it starts with the buyer consultation. When
Mm-hmm.
you sit down with that buyer at the conference table in your office and you have the buyer broker agreement signed and you're finding out their dream home and what they want on it. I used to hand them a piece of paper and say, you know what, put everything that you want in your next home and there's no price is not an issue, list all of it. I leave the room for 5 minutes. I come back in. I look at the list. Some would fill up two sides of a legal pad. Some would fill up one page, half a page, whatever. And did you see lightning almost hit my head?
Yeah, I'm gonna let you guys know right now that the lights just flickered. If we happen to lose you, we will restart the Zoom as soon as we can, but I lightning just like hit, so
And if it strikes me, she'll keep going and we'll call 911 after.
we'll
Um,
just move around him.
so,
The hallway.
but having that dream home finder be able to have them write down what they want, you can go back in and say, okay, of these 35 things, what are your five non-negotiables?
Mhm.
Right? So the non-negotiables are going to be bedrooms, bath, and size, right? Garage space, pool, no pool. Those are typically the top five, right? Obviously, price comes into the mix too.
Yeah.
So now it's starting to rain. So those are things that are going to be pretty universal. If they say, "Well, I'd like an extra game room," or
Mhm.
those are things I wouldn't necessarily set up on Portal
Mhm.
to get that specific. Okay, because again, you're relying on the listing agent, listing brokerage to put that information in there accurately and highlight that function. And sometimes they may not add it in as a room, they may add it in the description, and there's no way for this to realize that that's part of that. So
Right.
look at your core, what's non-negotiable, and that's what I would do to set up the
Yeah.
search on them. As they go down the funnel and they get more serious and you have them out looking at homes
Mhm.
and you're engaging with them, you know, at some point you can either tighten that search because now they know you've built trust, credibility, tighten that search up at the end once they're at the bottom of that funnel right before they're about to write a contract, or you take them off the search. Now you're hyper focused on
Yeah.
that same search that you do for that customer every day.
Yeah, I think the important thing out of all of that is just you apply too many filters, you're really, really
You're
filtering
cutting
them.
out some great
You're
houses.
filtering them out of their dream home. And I know that a lot of us feel like, we get all of their boxes, we check all their boxes, and we want the customer to feel that they're understood, right? Because I'm like, well, they said fence, and I don't want them to think I didn't hear fence. So I'm putting fence in the filter. Well, they, to my example, they didn't say, they said it was iffy, it could, but it
Right.
wouldn't
It's not
break the deal.
non-negotiable.
But now if I've put yes to fence, they're not seeing any homes that don't have fences. So you don't want to over filter them and then lose out on their dream
Right.
home.
And I think you just said a really good thing. To take a minute on this because I believe that you have to set expectations and boundaries up front,
Hmm.
right? When you have these conversations with your customer, you have to let them know how the technology works. You have to let them know, listen, you're going to see houses with or without fences. All right. That I'm not going to filter those out because there might be something that maybe data may not be accurate, or I'm going to filter out a dream home that does have a fence that you may not want or may want, right? So I'm going to keep it a little bit more loose up front, a little bit more general up front, because again, we've all been told, and I talked about this in the new member orientation, we're told buyers are liars. That's not true. They're not. They just may not know that they can get everything they want for the price they want, the
Right.
location they want. So
Education.
it is
You're right.
education. So spend that time up front, set the expectations, have a very candid conversation. Most consumers, I put my consumer hat on, which I am today. I was just looking at properties on a new tool that you guys are going to hear about here at the end for new construction. But when you put that consumer hat on, I want people to be upfront. I don't want you to filter homes out unnecessarily
Hmm.
unless they don't send me a 5 bedroom. I told you I want a three. Don't send me a single family. I told you I want a condo. Yes, those are non-negotiables, right? But everything else, keep a little bit more loose. But it's a
Yeah.
great conversation. It's a conversation.
Yeah. So once you've got your filters all plugged in here, and you do want to make sure for, especially for that first initial search, that you do not have more than 500 matches. The system will not send out more than 500 matches, which is good because you don't want to overwhelm your customer. I'm sorry, but if you're sending me 500 homes, I ain't looking at them. So
And that's part of that. That's part of that hearing them, right? I mean, you're
yeah.
sending out like, here, you figure it out, right?
So you can see how many searches we have as we continue to add in these different features over here on the top corner. Once you've got all of the criteria in here that you want, you're going to come up here to the top corner and click save. Oh, sorry, click send. Don't listen to me today. All right. So come up here and click send. Now, the path we're going down today is setting them up on an auto email, getting them plugged into the portal for a regular continued relationship. You'll notice that there are other options here. If you're working with a customer and you want to just send them one time some properties, whatever, you can come through here. You can select all of the properties, or you can just select out the important ones. Once you have things that are selected, you can just email it to them or get the link. And that link you could plug, if you're using Gmail, you want to send it out of your Gmail instead of out of Matrix, you can do that. But the email and the share link option is just a one time, like, hey, here's these 5 properties. Maybe, it's for a seller instead. And you're saying, here's the 5 properties I think that are closest to yours, or, whatever that situation may be. These links here are for that short term, one time send out. But what we're working through today is building that relationship and setting them up on the auto email and getting them connected to the portal. So we're going to go ahead and click auto email. And then this is going to open up the new auto email window. Now, if you're using our classic searches and you're not comfortable with the new searches yet, those are all still in there. So if you go to residential or residential rental, you go to these classic searches instead of the new one, which is what we're in. Those options are still available. Your buttons instead are at the bottom, but it is the same thing. You would click send and then you would click auto email. It just looks different. And it looks like we already have one question. Can you filter out HOA? Answer live. Yes. So there is a filter that you can add into here for HOA. You can do the type of community. You can do the price. If they don't want anything above a certain amount, you can add in those filters here on the left-hand side. So if you go back to our class from last Monday, I show you guys how to add in the different filters here, but that is certainly one that you can filter by, because we know a lot of people have budgets or certain types of communities that they want to get into. All right, so back to our auto email here. You're going to type in who you're sending this to. So if you've already got contacts loaded, which we're going to hop over to contacts here in a minute, those are under the My Matrix section. You can search for them here. So I've got myself set up in here multiple times, but if you don't have them set up yet, and we can see it's trying to like auto populate my name, you can click create new contact and go through it this way. Okay, so you don't have to have them already loaded. Sometimes it's easier because when you create a contact, there's a lot more fields to fill out. So you can put all the information in there. But no sweat, if you just start doing the search right away, you can add a contact. I'm going to go ahead and send this to myself. And we're going to call this Cape Coral Waterfront Search. So then down below here, this is the welcome message that your client will get. You can edit this. It's already pre-filled out. So if you're not the writer, you don't want to come up with anything, use what Cotality already has plugged in here. But if you wanted to edit this up, you certainly could. And then after that, so this is the first one that they'll get, right? You raising your hand?
Yeah, can I say one thing?
About the welcome message?
Yeah, so I'm gonna give you guys a pro tip, something that I did that got a really great open rate.
Okay.
They're expecting this, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you put Cape Coral Homes for Joanna Rao in there in the subject line, or Bob and Susie Smith, whatever their name is, this is gonna stand out when they see it come across their phone.
Yeah.
It pops up. They see it in their inbox. This is gonna make it stand out.
Yeah.
Right. And it's going to make it personal, and your open rate's going to increase. That's all I got.
Perfect. We love the tips from Jason Jenkins. All right. So welcome message there. You could customize it. And then after that, every time that, a new property comes up, when they get those reoccurring messages, you can change that. So the welcome message is one thing. And then after that, it's a separate, they keep this very, very short. But if you wanted to, you can plug what you need to in there. So the subject line is customizable. The welcome message with the initial, it's initially going to send them all of the properties on the market. But after that, The reoccurring message would just be when there are new properties available. So all of that is customizable, but it's done for you if you don't feel like getting
Yeah, and if you want
creative.
to put, yeah, if you want to put your own thing in there, say, hey, this is something I'm going to send you every
Yeah.
whatever, or as properties come on the market, I'm scouring the market and sending to you.
Hmm.
There's ways of to kind of phrase it so that they think you're really hard
Really
for
a
them.
human.
Yeah,
Here,
yeah,
here's
exactly.
what I pulled for you this morning.
Right.
So when you get down here to the options, you can turn on text messaging for them. So this was a big upgrade from our old system to this system. Everybody was like, dude, they want texting. They get text from, all the other real estate websites that are out there. When are you guys going to do that? Well, here it is for you. So you can turn that on. I will show you guys on the consumer end what it looks like because they will get an email that says, would you like to sign up for text messaging? They have to say yes, they have to opt in, and then they have to plug in their phone number, which is great protection for you guys. You can have yourself copied on every email that goes to them if you need that. I will show you guys later in the portal where you can find all the emails that go out so that you don't have to copy yourself. You got your hand raised
Yeah.
again.
So
Yeah.
I highly recommend this because we
Okay.
all carry our phones. We all have, we all have our phones, our emails on there. If Susie calls you or General calls you, she has this email and she goes, I love the house with the sunset picture. You got to be able to have that at your, and you want to know what's being sent.
Mhm.
So I always kept the VCCs on. And then if you're using Google Mail, if you're using Outlook, you can set up smart folders to put these in those smart folders so it doesn't hog up your inbox.
Yeah. So the question we just got in on the chat box is there a character limit? There is, however, I don't know exactly what it is. I have not hit it yet, and I have not had anybody else hit it yet. When you guys see the box that comes over on the email, you'll realize, you don't want it to be too
You
much.
don't. People aren't reading it.
They are reading it, but you'll see the box that it fits into. I will tell you, it's not like they're super stingy on that count. Nobody's hit it yet, but there is at some
Yep.
point a limit. All right, so showing this contact and reverse prospect, we're going to look into reverse prospect here in a minute. That's on the seller side. So if your client gets 3 homes, that's 123 Main Street, 945 Company Ave, and I don't know, another address. On the list side, that agent will be able to see that the property was received by one of your clients. It will not give out your client's information and it will not say, Bobby Buyer looked at this property. It'll say that the realtor had somebody that they sent it to. So you don't want to turn this off because a lot of times they use that list to reach out to anybody who sent the property out to say, hey, they're willing to negotiate, or hey, we're getting ready to do a price cut. They'll send it out like the day before. So you want to be in the know for your client. It comes automatically checked. I would not deselect that. And if you're kind of confused by reverse prospect, we'll look at that in a minute as well. Add favorite search to dashboard. So you're setting them up on a search, but if you want to be able to click into that search on a regular basis on your dashboard, you can turn that on and it'll add it to your list. Enable concierge mode. This is a question we get a lot in our MLS. And what this is when you turn this on, you can say alert me by email or other ways. What this does is it'll email you first before sending it out to them. So when you set them up on auto email, when they wake up, in the morning, they're going to have an email that shows the 5 new properties that hit the market in the past 24 hours. However, with concierge mode, it's going to hit you first and you're going to approve or deny each and every property. This is for that, situation. Maybe you have a really, really picky customer. And I always like to use the example of, they're buying a luxury $3 million home and they say, so help me, if you send me a house that has purple walls, I will fire you. Well, we don't have a filter for purple walls. So here you are in concierge mode,
Right.
approving and denying every single property
Yeah.
that comes through.
Well, that's really for the bottom of the funnel, right? This is
Yeah.
where they're down to they know their neighborhood, they know exactly the type of house. You can, you see one on the market, you just see it, you know it belongs to them.
Mhm.
It's that bottom of funnels when you want to look at that.
Yep. So the next step is setting up the schedule. How often do you want them to get these properties? So the frequency, ASAP means the moment it hits the market, they're getting an email immediately. Okay. So if there are a lot of homes hitting the market, this can become very overwhelming to a customer. But if they're looking in a very niche area and they need to know the moment something hits the market, if 5 of their properties throughout the day hit the market, that means they're getting 5 emails that day. Okay. Because your other options would be daily. So that's doing a daily recap of everything that's happened in the past 24 hours. clicking into daily, you can choose whether they get a morning email or an evening email. So are they getting it every morning when they wake up, or are they getting it at the end of the day to see what's happened? But this is in a 24-hour cycle. And then you also have weekly. So they would get an email every you choose day of the week. So for your customer, maybe that's not so serious, doesn't want to be inundated with email. Maybe they're the nosy neighbor type, and you're hoping in a year you'll get their house on the market. This would be a good option for that. And then you also have monthly, and then you have customized. You can customize exactly what days they're going to get it and if it's morning and evening. So lots of different options there. Yes, Jason, with your hand raised. I can't with you today.
So just a couple quick things. I would
Yes.
say this is the question you asked during the buyer consultation.
Yes.
How frequently would you like this information? You're going to get a sense of, I need to move yesterday. I just moved here at Chico's and I already started my job and I got corporate housing. It ends in a week. Or, I'm just a looky-loo. I want to kick some tires. Maybe that's what they want. But ask them that question. Because I will tell you as a consumer, again, nobody's asked me that question. I've gone through 2 realtors and they, I got
Careful, everybody's gonna be putting their number.
I got way too many on one side and I got none on the other side, and it was neither one of them worked for me, right? So
Yeah.
ask the consumer. The other thing I will tell you too is when you look at the morning and evening, what's better for you, mornings or evenings? Again, if you're looking at true, white glove service for your customer, really looking at their needs. How frequently like to get this? Okay, I'm like, is it okay if I send you Monday, Wednesday, Friday? How about the evenings? You can customize all of this for them.
Yeah.
Now they know to look out for it as well. So I think that that's important from that perspective, is to ask them what they want.
Yeah. So I do want to note that when you set them up, the moment you click save, they will immediately get the welcome email that will have a link to show them all the properties. So if this were my client, once I click save, they're going to get a welcome email and it says view properties. It'll show them all 332 properties. And then after that is when this schedule clicks in. So immediately the welcome email with all the properties, after that, based on your schedule.
Yeah, this is new. And then the other piece too is click on the monthly. I'm going to tell you another pro trip. I put every buyer that I've ever sold a house to on monthly in their neighborhood, right? So you can set up a search in their neighborhood, a parameter around their address, and send a monthly update to what's moving around in their neighborhood. It's a great way to keep in contact with past clients.
Perfect. All right, so then down here at the bottom under criteria, it is just reiterating the criteria that you plugged in here when you created your search and went ahead to click send. So this is a nice double check to make sure that everything you have in here is correct. If not, click cancel, redo, apply your filters, and then come back to this. So we're going to go ahead and click save. And just like that, our customer is now set up on the portal and going to be receiving that welcome email and the auto emails. So we're going to go ahead from here. And if you guys have questions on just like the setup and the search process, you can put those in the chat. We can hop back into it. But we're going to come over here into contacts. So you're going to hover over my matrix and click into contacts. This is where all of your contacts will be. Now, if you started the process from here, there is this add button up here to add new contacts. I personally like to do it this way because then I can fill out their email, their phone number. I can put the notes in there. I can put whatever I need to do in there. Then I go and run the search and pull them in. But whichever way you do it, there is no wrong way. I do want to point out on this list, if somebody were to call you, like a listing agent, and they say, hey, you sent my property 123 Main Street to your buyer, and I want to let you know we're getting ready to drop the price. You would say, well, what buyer, right? Because they can't see the buyer's information. All they can see is a reference number. And that's how we keep your client's identification to you and confidential away from the listing agents. They would say, well, your buyer with reference number 50696. And you would be able to say, okay, great. And then I would be able to contact this buyer and say, hey, they're getting ready to drop the price. Are you still interested in that one? When you run a search, because hopefully at some point here, you'll have hundreds of names in here. It's hard to see. You can search by that reference number as well. So that makes it easy peasy for you to communicate back and forth with listing agent and your buyer.
And you can also import too. So if you've got a CRM you want to import clients into, maybe you want to put all your past clients from 2 years ago onto a monthly update and let them know it's a great contact. Hey, listen, Jason, I'm gonna put you on this monthly update of what's happening in your neighborhood. Do you mind? I'm gonna send you an email. Nope, I don't mind. Fantastic. And then you can even, import those guys in there. So yeah, I mean, this is a great tool for that.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and click into the example client that I have here for you guys and give you an idea of all the information you can see on your customers. So all of the contact information is right here up top. You can see the opt-in for communication is here on the right-hand side. So it'll tell you if they have not signed up for text messages. If they're saying, hey, I'm not getting text, you can say, well, you didn't confirm, and you can resend that request so that they get a fresh email and they can sign up right away. Or if they stop getting text messages, there's an issue, you can resend it and they can re-register again as well.
And some of this stuff does go into spam. It comes out of mail servers that are sending out thousands of mail an hour,
Yeah.
right? So
So down here, you can see essentials. This is information that you would have filled out, whether they were pre-approved, if they're in reverse prospects, any notes that you've written, but then you can see how many they've favorited and any that they've written notes on. So when you click into these, it'll bring you into the matrix list so that you can view them all at once. So if you're getting ready to meet up with them and you want to kind of go through and prepare yourself, they're coming into town, you can go through all their favorites. Same thing if you click on the notes, it'll bring you to all the properties they've written notes on. So you can follow along with them and see what their activity is.
stalk them.
You can, and even more so here, it's my favorite term. With their recent activity, you can see everything that they're doing inside of that portal. When they visited it, if they liked anything, if they noted anything, if they trashed it. Well, there's a trash can. I don't mean trash it like verbally. Anything that they've done in there. In that portal, which we're going to see here in a few minutes, they also have an option. There is a buyer planner, there is a seller planner, there are like different help pieces that they can use. If they start using that planner, you can see what their notes are and what they've checked off on things that they've done. So you can truly stalk their progress in buying.
Right. Well, this is watching them go down the funnel, right? Everybody starts at the top, they all end up at the bottom.
Yeah.
You want to see where you're going to spend most of your time with and who needs help. And this should force you to make a phone call and have engagement with them.
Yes. So there is also the property fit score. If they decide to create an account, they will be asked a series of questions, short series of about like 5 to 7 questions based on their behavior of what they're looking for, and it'll create a property fit score for them. So when they're looking at property, it'll say, hey, this property fits your needs 90% of the way. This property fits your needs 50% of the way. Based on questions that they filled out, it'll tell them how likely that property is to fit all of their needs. Their questions and answers will display in this box for you as well, which I think is great because, you said earlier, buyers are liars, your words, not mine. And
well, that's what we're taught, but it's not true. Buyers know what they want. That's just
yeah, but if they're telling you, hey, like, I want a Cape Coral home, single family 3-2, and then they fill out this survey and it's something way different, that's a conversation piece to have with them.
Oh, absolutely. And if you're sending them stuff and it doesn't match what they put in there,
yeah,
maybe they change their mind and tell you. And that match will never happen.
Mm-hmm.
They'll never find their dream home with the stuff you're sending them if it doesn't match that criteria that they're putting in there.
Yeah.
So it's a good authentication of what they told you.
Okay. So this is a basic overview of what they've got going on in their information. If you need to update their information at any point, that lovely edit button is right here in the top corner for you. We also have this drop down bar here so that we can go into detail in more of the features. So first is auto email. This is where you can see what auto emails you've set them up on. You can set them up on multiple auto emails. As you can see, this account I use for tests. And it's got several different auto emails here. The green buttons mean that they're active. The red buttons mean that they're inactive. This search is inactive because I did not access it for more than 60 days. They don't want your account, your email, or anything to be associated with spam. So if you continue to email an account that does not get clicks and does not get open, you are more likely to get flagged for spam. So that is a safety feature set in there for you, but you can always set them up again and resend it. So the one that we just did here, if I click it and open it, we can see when we set it up, if we BCC'd ourselves, the status, the schedule, all the information that we did, the criteria. But you can go in and change the settings on it, change out the criteria. You can look at all of the results. You can run a search based on what it is that you set up. You can look at the date since they opened it to see what has changed. You can see a market update on any information that they've been sent. And then you can open it in OneHome and see exactly what it is that they are seeing. And we're going to get to that part here in a second. But all of the auto email information you just created is right here so that you can change it, edit it, do what you need to it if their needs might change.
Yeah, and I love the fact they allow you to change your criteria inside the same search because you don't want them signing up for another search, another search. Now they're getting things on different days, different timing. Keeping it all isolated in one email is going to make ease on customer.
Yep. All right, so carts, if you were in our class last week for the search, you've got search and you've got carts and the difference between it. If you add anything into their cart or they add anything into their cart, you'll be able to see this in the drop down right here. You can see that we did a cart on the search last week and added it in here so that they can keep an eye on certain properties if they would like. CMAs we're going to skip over for now because that is if they're in here as a seller, and we do have a specific CMA class to go over that portion. Sent emails. This will show you every single email that they get. So this morning I ran a test and you can see that, and then you can see the one that we've done since then. Well, the one that we've done just now hasn't sent out yet. But all of the emails that they ever get will be linked here. So while you can go in and see their whole experience and all the properties that fit their search, maybe they say to you, hey, you sent me an email this morning. It's got 5 properties in it. The second one down, I'm really interested in. You'll be able to go in here, find that exact email, and then find that exact property and see, or they say, hey, I'm not getting any emails. What's going on? You can come out here and see if emails are being sent at all first, to see maybe it's their spam blocker or, okay, nothing's getting sent out. Let me double check. Maybe I over filtered it. So you can kind of do a double check there. Searches. If you were to save a search for them separately than their auto email, those would display here. So if they are getting auto emails, our example right now is Cape Coral Waterfront Golf Access Homes, but they say, I also kind of want to keep an eye on the condo market because I might want to buy a condo for an investment property. You can set up a search where it's an easy click of the button in their portal so that they can go and look at it, but they're not getting inundated with emails for it. It's a separate way for them to access those criteria without getting auto emails as well. And then we have OneHome searches. This is the searches that the customer sets up themselves. So searches is just something you would set up for them. OneHome searches is something they set up for themselves. So if the customer goes in there and they start playing around, because they can search the entire database, they're not limited to just what you sent them. That's what they see on their dashboard, and that's the information they get right away is just what you've customized for them. But they can go wild and explore the entire MLS and start looking at condos over in Fort Myers, or something completely different. But this is a great thing, again, to keep an eye on, because if you come out here and they're like saving searches for something that's completely different from what you've provided them, it's time for a conversation with them. Maybe their needs have changed. And then reverse prospect. This is a new client I just set up, so we don't have anything in here yet. But if the listing agents start contacting you about the property that you've sent your clients, the email communication will be saved in here. Unless they reach out to you via phone or call you or anything like that, that's different. But anything they send through the portal, it'll all log here. You'll get an email in your inbox, of course, but if you're like, hey, like somebody called me about Brian, my buyer, and I can't remember which property it was for, you can come out here and it'll log all of those email communications for you, which is a nice, quick, easy way to find that. All right, let me see if we have any questions. Not yet. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to hop over into the consumer's point of view so that you can see what they're experiencing on OneHome. All right, so first and foremost, the email I want to show you guys is the text message opt-in. So this is the email that they will get, which this one comes first before the welcome email if you clicked it ahead of time. If you click it later, obviously it comes after it. But if you say send them a text message and then you set them up on the portal, they're going to say, do you authorize to get text messages? And then they're going to send out all of that property information.
You got a shopping problem. 480 purchases.
Sir, look at the boxes on the side. All right, so this is what we're going to focus here in the center. This is what that email looks like. Real short, real simple. Says, hey, Would you like to opt into text messaging? Now, I do want to point out at this point the branding, okay? You want to make sure you've gone into your profile and matrix and you've updated your branding. I can show you where to do that here at the end because any emails that come out, you can see at the top here it says OneHome and it's teal and it's got my little initials in a circle here. You can edit the color of this. You can put your company logo here and then you can put your photo here as well. This will be consistent through the emails and when they're on the portal. If you don't plug your information in, it's never going to brand anybody else. It's only going to brand OneHome, which is the portal to which they've got access to, but you can brand this so that it comes in as you. So, but scrolling down, really simple, just asks them to opt in. They click this link, they put in their phone number, and bam, they're in. Now, if I click this link, I've already opted in, and you can see it's letting me know that my text messages are already active because I've already gone ahead and done that. I do want to show you guys, let me stop sharing this screen and change screens really quick. This is what your customer is going to see. To give you guys an idea, I'll zoom in a little bit. I know it's small. So once they opt in, they are going to get this welcome text message. And then afterwards, this is the first initial welcome email I got and search, but I'm also going to get text messages. So now as a customer, I'm going to get an email and a text message based on the frequency that you may have set up. But this is what all of that looks like. Pretty simple, a nice welcome. And it came in, 2 minutes after I went ahead and authorized to receive text and email, which is nice. So after that, we have the first initial welcome email. This is what that looks like. Again, if you've edited this, that will be customized to you. And this is the welcome email. This is what was already pre-made by Matrix. If you customize it, then your personal message will show up here. And then you have this wonderful button here to view the properties. And then they also have a little help button down here below. After this initial email, what they will also get, let me move forward. Now, this one's a little bit older from the class we did back in August, but the reoccurring email will say, hey, like you've got new properties. This is based on the email that I set up. If you've customized it out, great, but it will highlight each of the properties with a little snippet and the photo. Now, my email, this is from way back in August, so it's scrubbed the photos, but they will get a single view of that property with the thumbnail information. Now, when they click it, it'll bring them right to that property, or if they click the two new properties, it'll bring them to the whole list with the welcome email. Again, this will bring them to the entire list of properties we've set them up on. So clicking into here, you'll see again, the OneHome brand and the teal logo or the teal bar is up here at the top. That will change if you change out your branding. And then let me move our faces. The little circle down here in the bottom, that's your contact card. So this is the unbranded version. If you add in your photo, your little face will be right here, ready, waiting to help them. If they click into it, all of your contact information will be there for them to use. All right, so running through what the consumer sees inside of OneHome. 331 results. That's everything that fits their criteria right now. It always filters by newest unless they change that. So let's say, it's tomorrow, I get a link and there's 2 new properties available that fit my criteria. The 2 are going to be right here at the top, and then everything else will be down there below so they can continue to look through anything else that might fit that criteria. They've got the map search so they can play around with the map search if they want. They can draw boundaries. They can add points of interest. They can add in filters. And this map is pulled in by Google. So you have a lot of those same features that Google has. They can change it to the satellite view or the map view. But then for each property, they can click into these and get the full property detail here. They have a lot of the same information that we've got, except for confidential and realtor remarks. All of that information is here and more. They've got school information. Let's keep scrolling here. Public record data that they'll be brought out to. If there's any open houses throughout the listing at the top and down here at the bottom, they can favorite or dislike the property, and then that will send you an alert. or it says talk to your agent about this listing. Your information is consistently there. But they also get a lot of different like demographic information, the walkability, the bike scores, the transit scores, price history, tax history. I would say, set yourself up on a portal, get what the consumer is experiencing so you can really get the full idea. There's a lot of information in here for them so that if they're that type of personality where they need to go digging and they need a lot of information, it's there for them. If not, then all the basic information is right here at the top where they can kind of click in, get a quick view, and then get out. All right, coming up here to the top, you'll notice that there is this search bar. If we click into this, or sorry, this bar here is displaying which search we're in. This is the one that I set myself up on earlier in the last class, but now we can also go to saved searches. And it's loading really slow because we're on Zoom at the same time. Please load. What this will do is bring you to all the list of the different saved searches that you might have. So I set myself up on another one this morning, and then anything previous I've done before. So you can view any of the saved searches that you have. It'll open up a little bar here and allow you to click into those multiple saved searches. But the consumer can also start their own search by clicking new search and putting in whatever criteria they want. So starting with maybe it's just an address, a neighborhood, a city, zip code, and then filling out the different criteria here. It'll allow them to just search freely, but then if they want to save it, they can save it as well. And that, as we saw earlier, is in the tab for the OneHome searches. You'll be able to see any other things that they might be searching for. All right, moving across the bar here, we have my properties. And this is where you'll notice that I can really play around with this. I can look at all the information. I can do a search, but if I were to click saved search or try to go into any type of saved data, this is where it's going to ask me to sign in or create an account. So, and this is the question we get a lot in MLS. They say, well, not everybody wants to have to create an account. They just want to look at the information. We've created that capability. The consumer can come out here, play around, and never be bothered. However, the moment they want to save something, it's going to ask them to create that account. So I'm going to go ahead and sign in really quick since I've already created my profile. And that's just going to open up a few additional features for me. It also makes it easy because I don't have to, every time I want to look at property, I don't have to go and find the email that my realtor sent me, which is what we used to have. You'd have to find the link and find the properties and so on and so forth. You no longer have to do that. You can just go to onehome.com and log in and access all of your stuff and not have to worry, or you can download the app, anything like that. And there are the saved searches now. That's why they weren't loading before we weren't signed in. Thanks, Jason. You could have raised your hand on that one. So this is anything my agent has saved for me, and this is anything that I have saved myself. But all of these features up here, or like hearting, disliking anything, saving notes, that's where it's going to prompt you to log in.
Yep.
So my properties are going to show me anything that I've favorited, anything that my agent has favorited for me, or anything that I've disliked. We also have the planner here. This is where we saw earlier the progress that the buyer was making through the planner. So they can go through these different planners. This is the get ready planner, browse properties, make an offer. These are all the different steps. You can see we're in buying mode. And then if it was a seller, they can switch into selling mode as well. And there are lots of articles in here, different steps, things to help them through the process to get a better understanding of what it's going to take to buy a property. Last but not least, we have Marketplace. This is going to show them home professional information, insurance information, offers, and things like that. This is something that you can customize in your settings as well. They can put in and ask for quotes. If they're looking like, hey, I want to buy this house, but it needs a fence. Okay, well, what's that going to take to get a fence on that property? And that is everything on the consumer side. Again, there's a lot of information out here. I encourage you to plug in yourself as a buyer and play around with this just so that you're more comfortable when your customers call in. But if you have any questions on that, let me know. We can hop back into this and I'll show you guys really quick where the branding portion is for OneHome. Did you have something?
Yeah, do I need to raise my hand?
No, you don't need to
Okay.
raise your hand.
No, I mean, this is a super powerful tool. Think
Yeah.
about, maintaining that customer client relationship the entire way without them jumping onto a portal, right? We like the portals because it gets buyers out there, but we don't want your buyers in those other portals. We want them in your portal, looking at it because it gives you the ability to look and see what they're looking at. It gives you the ability to maybe change the criteria, the search based on what they're looking at. Gives you some visibility. You all don't have visibility of what they're looking at on Zillow, Homes.com, or Realtor.com. And I love them all. They're vendors of ours. But this you do. So this puts you in the driver's seat. And I would say, and I would go out on a limb, and again, I'm not your broker, I'm not your lawyer, and I'm not a psychiatrist or therapist, but I would sit even with the most untechy individuals like my parents, who, if they're looking for a house, I would, sit them down and go through and get them set up on this because it's powerful.
Yeah.
Right? People, if you're waiting, the whole idea of texting is something that people have asked for weeks and weeks and months. It's here, right? Set them up on it, even if you have to do it in your office. So you know that this is how we're going to communicate. By the way, you're going to go out there to see these blue stars. Those are things that I put out there for you, right? Take a look at them. Here's how frequently you can get an email on this. Spend the time to go through that. The experience is going to be much better.
Yeah.
Especially in a world today where we have to get compensation from our buyers on the buyer broker agreement. It builds that value proposition. And I talk about especially at the new member orientation is, as a consumer, I've been presented with two of them. And one person talked about the before, during, and after part of it, which they brought in OneHome and what it meant for that.
Yeah.
So
Love it. All right. So a few quick things because we've only got 10 minutes left. I know.
Lots of
There's
information
so
packed
much
in
to
here.
talk about. So, first and foremost, if you guys have not upgraded to the new dashboard, I suggest you do. You can do that by clicking on your name, and this will say new dashboard. You can turn the toggle on and turn the toggle off. So don't worry, if you upgrade, you can always go back. This is the classic dashboard.
It looks classic.
It looks aged. And so if you come in here to the new dashboard, the reason I say to do this is because over here on the left-hand side, you can keep this feed open. This gives you information on all of your customers, what they're doing. Obviously, I don't have a lot of information out here because I'm not a practicing realtor, but you can see everything that we've just gone through and done. And you can see the activity. So every time you log into MLS, you can keep an eye on your customers, what they're liking, what they're visiting, what they're noting on. Everything they do shows up on this feed so that you don't have to go in and out of your clients and you don't have to do all this research.
Yeah.
Boom, it's right there, ready to
This is
go.
a great part of your dashboard, guys.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, and you've got the toggle right here so that you can change what you see. Maybe if you've got like 200 customers, you don't need to see every time somebody logs in. You can shut that off. Maybe you only want to see favorites, dislikes, and comments. You can customize it completely. I've got everything turned on.
Opt-ins.
You
They haven't
can
opted in
see,
yet. Why not?
a lot like social media, take out the negativity. You can see exactly what you want to on your feed.
Yeah, it's all cut. The nice thing about this dashboard, and I'll say it again, I said it last week, this is customizable, guys.
Yes.
I mean, this is MLS the way you want it. This is Burger King. Have it your way.
All right, so let's go over really quick. I'll show you where you can access the branding so you can change out that color and the logo, your photo, all of that. You're going to click on your name and you're going to go to manage branding. It seems pretty self-explanatory. You just have to know where that button is at. So going into the branding center, what this will allow you to do is change out. It even shows you here as you edit it on the left-hand side what the OneHome app and mobile site will look like, what the email will look like, and then MLS Client is the old tool. If you sent somebody a link through MLS Touch, it'll show you that. But these two are what you want to focus on right now. So the branding kit, you can create your own. So if you're in an independent brokerage or you've got like a team with team colors, anything like that, you can create your own, add in the color you want, add in the logo. And then you also can look at different ones. So they have the national brands in here. I'm not going to pull anyone up in particular. And
No, but search your brand. If
search
it's
your brand,
franchise,
see if it's in there. If it's not, then come out here and go to create your own. And then it will show you an example here on the left-hand side of what that looks like for you so that you're good and ready to go. So when your emails go out, they're customized. When your portal goes out, when they go to the portal, it's customized to you as well. All right, last but not least, I'm going to log out of mine. I'm going to stop sharing for a second so we don't see each other's passwords. Um, and I'm gonna go ahead and log into our guinea pig, Mr. Shane Spring.
Oh,
I know. He says I can use him as a guinea pig. And I'm going to show you guys what it looks like from the seller's end for reverse prospects, as well as I almost clicked my own name again. Reverse prospects along with the hit counters. Oakley dokley. He's got, oh, he's locked in.
oh, cancel.
Yeah. All right. Let me
User
find
copy.
somebody else really quick for you guys. He'll be in the middle of inputting a listing too, and he's gonna be like, "What are you doing?" All right.
Pay your bill.
I know. All right, Jason, give me somebody else.
I don't know anybody else.
You don't know anybody. All right. All right. I'll think it through.
Nobody knows me. Nobody knows me.
All right. All right. I've got this. Sorry, guys. Give me a quick second.
That's fine. Well, she's talking about that,
You
looking
fill
for
the
that.
space.
I am going to fill the space like I never have before. So we do have a new software coming out here that will be presented here. Is it not next week, week after?
It's next Monday.
Next Monday. So
A
next
week from
Monday,
now.
week from now. So go ahead and get yourself lined up on that. Sign up for MLS Monday next week. You're not going to want to miss this. If you ever sold a new home, brand new construction, you're going to want to be on this webinar. So we've got that coming, and I think she's ready for us.
All right. I'm imitating a broke
Only one commercial.
Only
Okay.
one commercial. All right. So if you are on the selling end or you want to see what the listing agents are seeing on their end from OneHome and like an algorithm point of view, you're going to hover over my matrix and you're going to go to my listings. This person, the last time they were in here, we're looking at their pending listings. Let's look at my active listings. So in here under active, you get a basic viewpoint of what your listings are. Most of us come here to like edit or just to view the listing really quick. But what you don't know is if you click this drop down bar, there is a button called hit counters in the list. Hit counters will give you all of the data that you can share with your sellers of the activity that's been on Matrix as well as the OneHome portal. So it gives you numbers, the start date, that's when it was listed. It'll tell you how many client portals it's gone out to, how many clients have viewed it, how many people have favorited it, people who have marked it as possibilities. That's part of the old portal. So you're not really going to see anything there as much. We just have favorites and dislikes now. How many auto emails it has been a part of. How many times it's been viewed just in the past 14 days, how many times the agents have published it and rejected it. These two numbers here are if they are set up on concierge mode. So concierge mode where you say yes, send it, or no, don't send it, that means published or rejected. And then it also shows agent views. So how many agents have viewed it right here inside of Matrix. These are some great numbers that you can grab for your listing so that you can let your sellers know how much activity is getting right inside of Matrix. The other point that I want to show you guys here is if you click into the listing, you also have this button down here for reverse prospect. This shows you every realtor that has sent your property out. And this is what we talked about earlier. I told you guys, you don't want to turn the toggle off for reverse prospect. This is what the listing agent sees. As you can see, no buyer information is here whatsoever. It is all the realtor's information. So our example up top here, Danielle St. Ange sent this out. Her customer did heart it, but it tells you the reference number. So if I was this listing agent, I would call Danielle and I would say, hey, your customer favorited our property. Let's get together. Can we get this deal done? Can we do some business? And they would say, yeah, great. What customer? And I would say, go to your customer database at Matrix and search the reference number 88210. And that would pull them up. The count is telling you how many other properties were in that email when it was sent out. So she sent out 89 listings and yours was one of them. The date it was sent out, the realtor's email, the realtor's office name, and the realtor's phone number. So those are just some quick analytics for you on the listing side of that.
Yeah, and this is great. I can tell you, selling 14 houses in my life, I know technology is advanced, but even recently,
Yeah.
The houses that I didn't sell myself and sold myself. This is information that you want to provide to your seller. If you're looking at a price improvement, you're looking at renewing a listing agreement, those types of things, go in there and look at those numbers. And this should be your cadence every Monday morning is what's that look like? And then pick up the phone and have that conversation with your sellers.
For sure. For sure. But I mean, and I know it's a lot to throw at you guys, but that's everything from, setting up a new customer to your viewpoint, the customer's viewpoint, and the listing agent's viewpoint. But as you guys go through this, set yourself up on it before you set a customer up on it. And when you go through it, if you come across any issues, any questions, any struggle points, do reach out to us. We're here to help you out with it. You can call in and ask for MLS or email us mls@rpcra.org and we'll help you through the process.
Or I'll type in Joanna's personal cell phone number in the comment section here in a minute.
If you didn't see it on the dashboard.
But yeah, so you guys, it's a lot of stuff. Digest it, go back and watch this again. I think there's a lot of information here. We're piling this on because this year is about adoption, and these tools are only as good as the people using them. And the consumers want this. There's hundreds and hundreds of studies out there, whether you look at Wave Group or T360 or any of these other consulting firms, they do, basically consumer advocacy, consumer questionnaires, and this is what people want. They want the agent to be engaged. They want tools to look at properties. And my fear is that some agents that don't want to get involved in the tools we're providing, those customers will then go onto the online portals and click request showing, and some other agent goes out and shows that house and sells it. And you're like, my customer got stolen. Well, yes and no. You can't steal people. People are not phones or Coke cans, so you can't steal people. But yeah, you could have an issue with ethics or whatever the case may be. But use the tools. We have a ton of stuff out there. We're putting things out there that we know will help you be better professionals and not that I'm saying you be more professional, but being better professionals. We're giving you the toolkit that's going to allow you to do that. So use this to your advantage.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, there's no more questions. So we look forward to seeing you guys here next week on our MLS Monday, where we will be launching the new Neo product and giving you a full preview of it.
And TechCon, don't forget to sign up next week, Monday. Next week, Monday.
Thanks, guys. Have a good day.